The FDA published draft guidance which will assist in developing alternative curricula to satisfy produce safety rule requirements. This guidance provides recommendations on which factors should be considered when selecting or developing an alternative curriculum training to the Produce Safety Alliance's standardised curriculum training. This comment period is open until October 2nd, 2019. The FDA has also set a deadline of September 8, 2020 for publishing a proposed rule for the reporting requirements of high-risk foods under FSMA. This follows a lawsuit in October last year by the Centre for Food Safety and the Centre for Environmental Health, which sued the FDA for failing to meet statutory deadlines under FSMA. The date for the final rule, including record-keeping requirements for high-risk foods, has been set for November 7, 2020. The FDA has finalised guidance for determining business size for those under the preventive controls for human food and preventive controls for animal food rules. A small business was defined as one that employs fewer than 500 full-time equivalent employees, and this also includes subsidiaries and affiliates in this number. A European Food Safety Authority survey conducted by Kantar for World Food Safety Day on June 7th revealed that 3 in 10 Europeans had not changed their consumption behaviour because of information about a food risk. The survey reported several findings, including that television is the most common source of information about food risks, that 1 in 5 Europeans note food safety as their main concern when purchasing food, and that the respondents were most likely to be concerned about antibiotic, hormone, or steroid residues in meat, followed by pesticide residues, environmental pollutants, and additives. The report is available to read in full, and a link is included in the description below this video on the Safety 360 website. Elsewhere in Europe, the Irish police forces raided farms and commercial premises earlier this month as part of an investigation into horsemeat unfit for human consumption entering the supply chain. This raid follows the discovery of microchips containing fraudulent data earlier this March, and it is suspected that some of those at the centre of the searches may have actually been victims of the fraudsters and not actively engaged in the food fraud. This investigation is ongoing. In the UK, the National Audit Office has said that the Food Standards Agency is showing signs of strain as local authorities cut staff and delay hygiene checks. In response, the FSA has said that it was struggling to progress reforms because of the impact of Brexit. Although the FSA has spent £6.2 million of its budget on Brexit preparations, it had received an additional £15 million. The NAO concluded its report with concerns about the future financial sustainability of the system, as well as the current ability of the regulatory system to achieve value for money in response to uncertain circumstances, with the UK's exit from the EU, and recommended that the FSA and the UK government should evaluate medium and long-term impacts of the EU exit on food regulation and identify potential resource gaps. The European Food Safety Authority have re-evaluated the safety of phosphates and for the first time have stated a group acceptable daily intake of 40 mg per kilogram of body weight. This conclusion is going to be relayed to the risk managers of the European Commission and member states who regulate the use of phosphates as food additives in the EU. It has emerged that the Dutch Food Safety Authority, the NVWA, gave the authority for the transport of sick pigs to Germany and Belgium in 2017, which is a violation of EU law. The Dutch Agriculture Minister has said an investigation into the working methods of food inspectors will be conducted and appropriate measures will be taken when necessary. In a separate event, the Dutch Safety Board also remarked that the NVWA is not equipped to identify and prevent new health risks. This statement emerged after an investigation into the fipronil crisis in 2017, and the Safety Board were particularly critical of the NVWA's decisiveness in acting on emerging risks. In England, another 2 people have died as a result of a Listeria outbreak related to pre-made sandwiches in the National Health Service. This brings the total number of deaths to 5, and the suspected contaminated ingredient is chicken, which had Listeria monocytogenes at a level of 190 colony-forming units detected in the sandwiches. Both the supplier and its supplier of the meat have voluntarily ceased production while investigations continue. The European Council has formally adopted a new regulation on transparency and sustainability of EU risk assessments in the food chain. The new regulation aims to increase transparency of risk assessments in the food chain while strengthening the objectivity and independence of the studies used by EFSA. The new regulation should be published on September 6th and should become applicable by the end of March 2021. Reflecting similar issues in the US, Democratic Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro and Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois are calling for the creation of a single federal agency. Called the Safe Food Act of 2019, the new bill seeks a single agency that is accountable for food safety, research, prevention, inspection, investigations, and labelling, as well as strengthening the oversight of foreign food facilities and improved food import inspections as well. The European Commission has published results of a pan-European testing campaign of food products to show that some products are identically or similarly branded while having different compositions. Analysing nearly 1,400 products in 19 EU countries, the study showed that 9% were different in composition, although the front of pack was identical, and a further 22% had a different composition, although they shared a similar front of pack. As the next step, the Commission has announced a new call for proposals in order to strengthen consumer organisations' capacities to test products and identify potentially misleading practices. The monthly deadline for these applications is November 6th. Thank you for watching. This has been your June Food Safety News Industry Roundup. If you would like to know more about how food businesses globally use Safety 360 to meet their compliance and quality demands, please send me a message, comment, or visit safety360.com for more information.